20 seconds. 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Okay. Rep your city. Let me see the mic. Rep your city. Give me the mic. Rep your city. I got you. Rep your city. I'm gonna tell you not mine. Rep your city.
It's time for us to go live, so rep your city. I really would appreciate if y'all roll with me. Feeling this music cause it makes me wanna step. And if you don't want it to, then you lying to yourself. Cause every time we party, we gon' have fun. I don't know about you, but I'ma rep where I'm from.
Rep your city. Okay. Rep your city. Let me see the mic. Rep your city. Give me the mic. Rep your city.
Welcome to the RYC Live Show. My name is Artistic. I'm your host for tonight, and this is Rep Your City RYC Live Fresh Fridays. And we are back once again with another fresh episode. We do this each and every Friday night at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we are back. Welcome. It is a nice, beautiful Friday evening here in Chicago, from which we broadcast our show, but we circulate around the globe. And so we want to encourage everyone right now to keep it locked and loaded and do us a favor. Share this broadcast to a friend, to a family member, or to a crewmate. Let anyone know that might be interested in our segment tonight, because we have a special treat tonight. We have our special guest, Miss Trisha, MyEyes Clifton, who's in our backstage area right at the moment. And we're going to get into a discussion about a new show that she will be highlighting and featured on right here on the RYC Live platform. And this show will be launching on Wednesday, May 14th. So you all are in for a special treat. We are so super excited. Tell all your friends and family, to prepare for May 14th, which is Wednesday coming up. But tonight we're going to have a discussion and talk all about the whole concept of her show. So thank everyone for tuning in. We appreciate all your love and support. If you have not done so already, make sure you go to our YouTube channel and please subscribe to our channel. That's RYC Live on YouTube, RYC Live, or you can also follow us or like us on our Facebook pages, Rep Your City or RYC Live on Facebook. Okay? Show your love. And if you're tuning in tonight, also engage with us. If you have any questions or any comments or concerns, long as it's keep it positive, encouraging, we'll be more than happy to correspond with you right here on the show. And if you'd like to be a future guest on a future show, make sure you send us an email to ryclive@yahoo.com. That's ryclive@yahoo.com. And someone from the team will be more than happy to get back with you to book you for a future date on a future show. So we know we have made it to the year of 2025, and we got a lot of great things in store. But at this moment, let's get right into our discussion with our special guest, Miss Trisha MyEyes Clifton. And there she is.
Hi.
So welcome back again. So this is your third time on the show?
I believe so. Yes, it's the third time. Third time
Yes.
is the charm, right?
So thank you. We really appreciate having you. It's always a pleasure to talk with you.
Yeah, it's great to be on with you.
See what you've been up to and things of that nature. So tonight, I'm super excited. I can't wait to get into this conversation to kind of see how your show is developing so that we can share this with the viewers. We got people tuning in already. So once
Cool.
again, as I mentioned, if you have any questions or comments that you'd like to pose for Trisha, please feel free to put that in the comment section, and we'll be more than happy to try to accommodate and
That's
answer
right.
any of
Come
your
in the
questions.
room. Come in the
Yeah,
room.
yeah, yeah. So let's talk about what is the theme, what is the title of this new show coming up next week.
Okay, well, first of all, I'm excited. So if I'm smiling, all smiles all night, then it's because I'm excited. I
Okay.
think anybody would be excited about launching your baby. It's like a
Yes.
new baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the name of the show is Food for Thoughts.
Okay.
And I put S on that because I think our thoughts sometimes have thoughts. So typically you hear food for thought, but the
Okay.
title of the show is Food for Thoughts.
Okay.
So this show is going to be one that I hope is intriguing to people because it's going to be a gamut of different topics. It's going to be us talking about all the different things that are happening day to day. Just as we say, life is life in the current events in the world, personal things that women would be more inclined to want to tune in for. And at the same time, some topics that men will love, and a whole universal type of different topics that anyone can tune into. Because you can always share with your husband, your wife, your significant other, in case they're not listening, or you can share, the live later.
Yes.
Hopefully you're watching it live though.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So yeah, that sounds very interesting. It's especially nowadays, it's kind of like having something to really think about, and in other words, that phrase is kind of catchy, food for thought, because you think about food, literal food that you eat, but a
Yes,
food for thought is kind of like really good meditation, like almost like a consumption of your thoughts.
absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You really dig down. Like you ever had like moments where you're in deep meditation and you're thinking about
Yes, that
something.
things that make you go,
Right, right,
type
right,
of
right,
moment.
right, right, right,
So
right.
that's pretty much the thought process of the show, and how that title, came about.
Okay.
Because I think a lot of us can attest to the fact that sometimes we are overthinkers. I know I can say that I'm
Uh-huh.
an overthinker with everything, and I'm always trying to cross the T's and dot the I's, and I just think a lot of people have a lot of things that they probably carry within themselves and don't open up and talk about to other people. And then when it's a topic that's brought up that's relatable, then you go, that's something that I've thought about, or it's some ideas that you can share.
Yes.
And that's why I'm hoping that people would chime in, kind of, interact with us on the show live and give your comments, any thoughts you have, and actually any thoughts you may have about future show topics, or even if you want to be a guest on the show, we'll
Yes.
welcome you there.
Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's great. I was just looking, I stumbled across a video earlier today of what appeared to be a homeless woman,
Mm.
and she was being interviewed by another lady. And I kept watching it, and then I stumbled across a second video, and it was the same lady. And so I was just like, "Wow, what's going on?" And what I realized is the homeless lady had been discovered by another woman. I believe her name was Keisha, and
Mm.
so this woman took great interest in her, obviously, because I guess she's seen her on the streets,
Hmm.
and she started talking to her, and she volunteered to help her. And
Absolutely.
the woman was she was homeless. Looked like she
Mhm.
had been homeless for quite some time, and she started telling her story. And so the
Mhm.
lady said, "Well, are you willing to seek help?" Because she
Mhm.
was on drugs, and you can obviously clearly see that she wasn't in no great condition,
Right.
and she had been living on the streets. And the lady was like, "Yeah, I do need help, but it's hard."
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
they actually, I said I was going to look back into it because I think they didn't made it a regular thing where she comes on and she interviews her right there on the
Absolutely.
streets. You know,
Yeah, and see, and that's great because there's so many people. Mental health is a huge, oh my God, it's a thing that a lot of people don't really focus on. It's
hmm
like you have your physical health, people tend to their medical needs, but there's also that mental need.
Right.
And there's a lot of resources that a lot of people just don't know about. And a lot of people were like, oh, I'm not crazy, and I don't want to go and seek a psychologist or, you know, a therapist or anything like that. And that is truly what's needed. And there's a lot of resources out there, and a lot of people are just not aware of what those resources are. So that's going to be another topic that's going to be on Food for Thoughts, because that is something that's near and dear to my heart. I'm glad you brought that up, because mental health that's one of the things that really plagues me in this world that we live in. Is so many people, if you're walking down the street, you see people, you know, twiddling their hair, you know, with their thumbs or their fingers, playing around in their hair, or just walking down the street talking. Or literally the other day I saw a lady laying on the ground, sitting on the ground at a bus stop, and she had her beverages, bags of food, and she was like just hitting the bottles and knocking them all over the place, and, you know, grabbing the food and take a bite out of it and throw it. Clearly, of course, something's wrong with her. Yeah. But everybody else is just walking past and going on with their day. So not to stay, you know, zoned in on that aspect, but these are things that need to be talked about. And a lot of times people having conversations about that, each one reach one, you know, someone to share a resource that they heard about on RYC Live or Food for Thoughts, and be able to share that with someone that's actually needing that help, you know?
Yeah. I think mental health issues is important too, you know, because like you said, all of us have to degree some challenge. It's just that some people, you know, challenges are more obvious or more noticeable than others. And at some point we need help, whether we want to admit it or not, you know.
We all do.
Yeah.
Especially in 2025, when life is really life, and the state of the world is kind of like, whoa, what's going on, you know?
Yeah.
So yes, that's something just like any health condition, whether it's high blood pressure or whatever, we also need to be able to sit down and talk to someone. And that's something that typically people don't want to do.
Because even like in the congregation, you know, you can be what appears to be spiritually healthy, but then you still might have some other, you know, things going on in your life that's somewhat of a challenge, where you may need some spiritual help, right?
Absolutely.
And so, you know, that's why the congregations are designed to kind of help give you counsel and encouragement, and you know, reading you scriptures and helping you, you know,
absolutely
dig down.
I'm sorry, I can throw my hand up right there, because I was born and raised in the church. Gospel, that's a part of my life. I'm a lead singer with Chicago Mass Choir, and I have a solo project that I launched during the pandemic.
Right.
And it's like we have so much out there that we need to focus on. We really do. We really do.
Yeah. I want to send a shout out to Mr. RYC Live himself checking in. He says, hello, team, RYC Live.
Hi, Jay. Mr. Dion. The man with many names.
Right. So I just think I think the title is very very useful. It's very, you know, I think it's going to be great for conversation. Now let me ask you, it actually says food for thoughts. So
that's why I say my thoughts have thoughts. It's just a play on the, you know, you could do FOR, but food for thoughts. But again, I people always call me the long story short person, but I promise I'll try not to, you know, go on and on and on and on. You know, it's the song that never ends, you know. But food for thoughts, it's just a play on the word for, you know. But like I said, my thoughts have thoughts. I think a lot of times our thoughts have thoughts. We think about a lot of things, and a lot of times we don't share those thoughts with other people.
That's true.
So that's what the show is about. It's about sharing a lot of information, a lot of resources, as we talked about, with things that someone else may not know. And then, like I said, each one reach one, and you put that information out there, and it could be the life-changing thing that helps a person.
Yes.
So like you just said, and people, we grow up in the church, and we're encouraged by the pastor, and we're given the scriptures and all those things to help build us and keep us strong and faithful. But life be lifing.
Yeah.
And then even a Christian person, we still can get weak, and we still can get emotional, and get set back sometime, because that doesn't mean you're going to be perfect. So we all need someone that we can kind of share our thoughts with.
Yeah, that's
so
totally agree.
It's going to be that show to kind of help us ponder a lot of different thoughts, and hopefully get some resources shared to others that can help help them with whatever situation is going on that we're discussing.
Sometimes when I would read some of the accounts in the Bible, I would look at because sometimes people look at the Bible as such an old book, and they almost kind of look at it like they can't believe it because it's so before their time, right?
Before Christ,
yeah. But right, but the thing is that you have to make those scriptures become alive. And so when you look at this, when you see, I'm a historian, so naturally when I look into something history wise, I try to delve into making it become alive.
Right.
It may be old, but it's still relevant, and anything that happened in the past can still help you with your future.
Absolutely.
And so, and that's the reason why stories are documented, because they help other people in their future, right? And so, but you gotta, it's just like watching a good movie.
Absolutely.
You gotta pay attention and try to understand what message they're trying to get across. When you look at a book and read it, it's the same thing, So once you do that, then your viewing and reading will become more understandable and more pleasurable, because you're like, "Ooh, I got it. Oh, what's gonna happen next?"
And sometimes you may have to read it again.
Yeah.
The second or third time to really okay, my little dog is kind of like wanting to be a part of this interview.
Yeah.
Ivory, share your food for thoughts later, okay? But yeah, everything you just said. Everything you just said. Yeah. Ivory, come on, stop it. I might have to get her.
Okay. Yeah, so so I just think about sometimes, like, for example, the account about Jonah and how he got swallowed up by the big fish, right? And it's things like that. It sounds kind of like like, wow, how is that possible? But when you read those accounts, you're just like, wow, and a lot of those accounts are written and preserved to help benefit us in our time, in modern times, modern days. Like Jonah is Noah is another one. Like just his assignment of getting all the animals on the ark. It's just like, wow,
what
like
a job.
Right at a time where they had never even rained on the earth before. So you got the assignment to preach and teach to the people about an upcoming flood that never had even rained before.
And now you got to go and get all these different breeds.
Yeah. So it was just like, wow, know. So I think those are great samples, a lot of those accounts, to kind of help us in modern times to be just like, okay.
And then we can find scriptures that, the Bible is, my goodness, it's a big book.
Right.
And a lot of times people plan out, a certain time period of how to be able to start reading the whole book, and they'll plan a week here, a week there. But if you can find scriptures that you can focus on for certain time periods in your life, then those, just try to horn in on those to kind of keep you focused. Because I like I said, I was born and raised in the church, but can I tell you every scripture and every verse? No, I'm not going to even try to pretend to be a perfect, Bible thumper that can tell you where to go for this, that, and the other. But the Bible does tell us to be anxious for nothing. And that is one that I really try my best to focus on, because a lot of times life can get us, kind of over the top. And we playfully say life is life. And in fact, it is, because there's a lot of things going on. But be anxious for nothing, because once you get into that anxious mindset, that anxiousness can start an avalanche of things going wrong, because now you're panicking and
Yeah.
you're not really taking the time to sit and focus and say, okay, wait a minute. Let me grasp what's really happening and take my time and work through this process on what I need to do. So be anxious for nothing. That's one of my favorite scriptures. And of course, now faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen in Hebrews 11:1. You have to stay faithful because life is a journey of faith. Now,
I agree.
I'm going to go on a whole nother tangent if we start talking about that.
But I think it's important because even with the topic of your new show, it still connects to that.
Yeah, like I'm going to definitely share it because that's just who I am. So, of course, you're going to get all sides of me. You're going to get that side of me. And, I don't want people to be scared because some people are like, oh, it's another gospel show or it's this or any other. But when a person is launching a show or what have you, then you're going to get elements of who they are. And hopefully you'll like who I am because I love God and he loves me. And hopefully I can convey that and encourage some people that's listening along with the different topics that we're talking about, because no matter what we're talking about, God is going to still always be the center of what's going to always be the thing to pull it all together and pull us through.
So let me ask you. So, I think we talked off the record about just watching some of our favorite programs on television, back in the days, right? And all of us obviously had our own favorite shows.
Yes.
But what are some of the things that you would like to see come from your show? Like, in other words, what would you like when people tune in to your show? What are some of the things you want them to walk away with after viewing your show?
Well, that's a very easy question. I remember actually when thinking about doing the show, it was so quick to come up with what I really wanted. At the end of it all, I want people to walk away encouraged. That's always what I want. I pride myself in being an encourager. The songs I sing hopefully are encouraging to people.
Right.
And we know gospel is spreading the good news. So I sing gospel music. So me being a gospel singer, a gospel artist, a Christian, I hope that any topic that we're talking about is going to be something that people can walk away with some knowledge, some resources, and something that's going to encourage them and help them through whatever walk of life that, they're in.
Okay.
So that's definitely my focus, is to make sure people leave more knowledgeable about the topic and can share in the process of whatever we're discussing, share your comments, any shows you may want to be discussed in the future, any ideas you have. If you want to be a guest, chime in, send me an email at trishaclifton112@gmail.com. Let me know that you're interested in being a part of the show or on the show, and we'll take it from there.
Okay. Yeah. That's cool. So, any kind of features that you may have that you would like to share that your viewers can be looking forward to seeing on your show?
Well, actually, yes. I remember, and I don't want to, let me just pause. I don't want to say any particular names.
Okay.
But I remember after this certain person was put over this administration, life started really seeming a little gray. And a lot of people, I would go to the grocery store and I would hear some of the elders in line while I'm waiting to pay for groceries or what have you. And all you heard was the chitter chatter of people sounding so concerned about the state of the world.
Yeah.
What we're going to do now, hearing about all of the different resources, the job cuts, possibly SNAP, which we know a lot of people utilize SNAP, and, Social Security and all these different government funded resources. And that was the topic every time. I mean, not just at the grocery store, different places. And I realized, I'm like, this is really not just a hot topic. This is real life. This is what we're living through. And a lot of people are worried. A lot of people are concerned. And my very first show is going to be pretty much on how to stay calm, how to stay cool, how to stay collected. Because when life is lifing and things are being thrown at you, and I always say, when it's something that's going on that I have no control over, then I'm not going to stress myself out and worry about it. I'm going to keep on living and have my faith and walk by, faith and not by sight, and trust God. But at the end of the day, life is still lifing. So you still got to go with the flow. Yeah. But at the same time, if it's something that you have no control over, the best thing you can do is pray, let go, let God, and do whatever you have to do to get through each day and keep trusting. That's all you can do. But at the same time, the main focus that I'm trying to get back to is the first show. I definitely want to be about the state of the world. And like I said, it's the CCCs, trying to stay calm, cool, and collected in this current climate that we're in. So it's all C's, current climate, calm, cool, and collected. And it's going to go back to being anxious for nothing in Philippians 4:6.
Yeah. That's good.
Because what you can't control, you just walk by faith and not by sight.
Yeah, that's a good scripture. I think about when I was a little boy, and me and my mother went to Great America, right? And you know how when all the roller coasters there, they have signs for the kids, and the signs might have a marker that shows if you're not this tall, you can't get on this ride, right? So, obviously I had met the mark, so I was like, okay. So my mother was like, okay, so you can get on this coaster with me. And I was like, I'm not finna get on that. I'm looking at the thing do its thing, and I'm like, I am not finna get on that. She said, well, you can't, it's just me and you. You can't wait down here by yourself. And it was a long line, right? So I said, well, I'll get in the line with you until we get all the way up to time to get on the roller coaster. Right. And then I'll just wait till you ride. And then when you get off, then we can leave together. And so she said, okay. So, we conversating and everything. And, because I'm already clearly telling her I'm not fit. This had to be like, you remember the roller coaster at Great America called the American Eagle?
Yes. I knew you were getting ready to say that. I was so afraid of that roller coaster, and it was made out of wood.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, I couldn't stand that. I got on it one time, and that was all I needed.
And now here's the thing. Here's the thing. We got on that. We got all the way up. Now this was when the roller coaster was brand new, and this is what. And my mother was bold back then, right? She was young. She was bold. She was encouraging me to get on, but I'm a little boy, and I'm like, man, I'm not gonna get on. I'm looking at how the drop of that thing and all that. And then, like you said, it's made out of wood. I'm like, So we get out. She said, okay, well, let's just get in line, and when we get up there, you can watch me ride, and then when we get off, when I get off, then we can leave. So when we get up there, she like, you got to get on here with me because I can't leave you up here, And I said, no, I can wait right here. They're like, no, even the workers was like, you have to get on. You can't stand here. We can't, So I was just like,
you
like.
got set up.
Right. So we get on. I sit down in the chair, and then they pull the harness over you, and it's locking. And I'm scared to death.
I'm scared just hearing you relive it because I'm afraid of roller coasters now. As much as I used to like getting on certain ones, I'm horrific. I'm past the roller coaster ride days.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And so, I remember I bring that up from time to time because my mother encouraged me to do it, and this is back, like I say, when she was bold. And so we rode it. I made it through. It was like a miracle that I made it through because I'm surprised I didn't pass out. Right. But after it was over, I was like, wow, I'm still alive. I didn't fall. I didn't, it didn't break, and then some years went by. Now I'm older. So now I'm going to Great America by myself, or not by myself, but with my friends.
Right.
And we getting on all the roller coasters now. Right. And so now some years go by, and then we go back again with me and my mother. And I'm like, okay, Ma. So remember when we came and you tricked me to get on here? I was like, let's get on here now. She said, I'm not finna get on that. I'm too old for that now. I can't get on that. I said, but you was the one that got me on that.
Yep.
So I just said,
I'm her now. Been there, done that. No, I don't need to get on that no more. I don't like the way my stomach feels when it goes. No, I can't. And some of these roller coasters they have now are like, whoa,
Right.
it's scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Very
and
scary.
you've heard stories about sometimes some people having injuries, and you know, the roller
Yes.
coaster broke for
Yes.
whatever reason. You're like, whoa, you know.
Yes, it may be, you know, 1 in a million, but hey, I don't want to be that 1 in a million possibility, you know.
Right.
So no, I don't get on them.
Yeah. But that was just one fun, you know, little moment that I remember when my mother, and she had almost forgot about it. She was just like, I said, "Mom, you was the one that got me on the roller coaster." And then she was talking about, she was like, "I don't remember." So I just think that, you know, today, like you said, life be lifing.
Oh yeah.
And, you know, we got to do what we got to do to combat the lifing that's lifing.
Yes.
The life is lifing.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. It is, you know, but I think for me, the easiest way that I can get through challenging things is by me not staying focused on that big old huge issue.
Yeah.
I have to be like, you know what? I'm gonna make it through this. I gotta speak life to myself. I have to try my best to focus on positive, surround myself with positive people. I don't need to be around nothing or no one that's, oh, the world is about to end. And, you know, they ain't getting ready to pour nothing into you that's gonna make you be encouraged. And like I say, if it's something that you literally have no control over, then why are you worrying about something that you're not gonna be the one that's making that ultimate decision about? You know, you just turn it over to God and watch him move. That's what I would say.
There you go. All right. Well, let's do this. Let's take a few moments to go to commercial break, and when we come back, we'll pick up where we left off. You're watching the RYC Live Show, and we will be right back.
Are you tired of shopping for wigs in the back of a beauty supply store? At Random Glam Wigs and Accessories, we give wig lovers the shopping experience they deserve. Personal attention in a chic boutique atmosphere. Fabulous wigs and unique accessories, all at affordable prices. Try on as many wigs as you like. Our friendly glam consultants will be happy to help you find the perfect look to fit your lifestyle. Be a Glamazon and discover Random Glam Wigs and Accessories. We are conveniently located at 7207 South Exchange Avenue in the historic South Shore District. Shop where you're appreciated and get the personal attention you deserve. Visit us online at randomglam.com. Random Glam Wigs and Accessories, 7207 South Exchange Avenue.
Welcome back to the RYC Live Show. This is Fresh Fridays, and my name is Artistic, your host for tonight. And we have our special guest, Trisha MyEyes Clifton, right here on the set with us. So during our commercial break, right before we went to the commercial break, we got a message from Mr. RYC Live himself. And he says, I gotta say, y'all got some real good chemistry on screen. The way y'all bounce off each other, speak so clear, and handle the topics with professionalism brings a nice twist to the show. Just a thought. Maybe y'all could do a show together once a month. I'm just saying.
That's a thought. Food for thought.
Yeah.
My popcorn bag. Let's talk about that.
And then he says, we need positive energy flowing.
Absolutely. Always positive.
Yeah.
Nothing but.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, okay. Interesting. That's interesting. So,
I'm talking about popcorn. This is actually my girlfriend's shop. It's called Paparazzi.
Okay.
This is my plug. Yes. www.pgtreats.com 224-636-1559. This is some great popcorn.
That's cool. Where's that at? Is that local?
It's in Waukegan.
Oh, okay.
But I'll have more information on my show, and I may actually have her on the show.
Yeah,
that's
great.
On the show.
Speaking of which, we are always looking for people, business owners. If they like to do advertisement on our broadcast here to promote their businesses, they're more than welcome to connect with us so that we can handle it. Because I also feel like, and this is just another food for thought, right? Like I feel like we should be helping one another,
absolutely,
especially in these dire times that we're living in. Like you say, life be lifing, and me and Mr. RYC Live, we talk all the time, and we be trying to figure out ways to stay ahead of the game, right?
Oh yeah,
and I just think that, especially here in Chicago, like. My biggest concern is us supporting one another. Especially as artists. That's why I talk so much. That's why I talk so much about history, because like sometimes you think about history and you say, well, what happened in the past? Do you want that to continue to happen today? You should be learning from the history.
That's right. That's what's going to help you moving forward into the future. It's history.
But a lot of times people are living in the moment, and they're not really focused on the future, and they're definitely not concerned about the past.
No.
So it's just like, I'm just concerned about what's happening right now.
Right now. Living for today.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So, but I am super excited. I think this is going to be a great show. I can't wait.
I'm really, truly excited. I'm looking forward to it. I have some sleepless nights because, like I said, my thoughts have thoughts.
Yeah.
My thoughts have thoughts. I think I have like about 5 or 6 shows already. I haven't done the first one yet.
Right. Yeah. So that's going to be great, and it's going to be, like people get a kick out of a good show. When you see a good show, you be like, and you tune in regularly to watch that show because you be like, ooh, I love this show. Whether it's a podcast show or a TV show or, a movie or whatever, a series, a lot of series are streaming on these platforms now. So you can constantly come back and look at more content and get glued into watching it,
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of, the reporters that we've known from some of those networks that were, out there really big, they have their own private, podcasts that they're doing on YouTube, and they're collecting dollars and cents and donations and all of that to keep, the lights on and all of that.
Yeah.
So, hey, each one reach one, support your own, and definitely, hey, I love everybody. But I definitely love supporting Black-owned businesses. I will say that.
Yeah. We need that.
We all got to support each other.
Yeah, it's always encouraging to be able to walk into a Black-owned establishment, and the service is great. You know what I'm saying? And at the same time, you're looking like, oh, we have the same complexion. I can relate. My brother, my sister. But it's just not enough.
Right.
So. when you see that, because like some people, you hear people say, keep the dollar circulating in the Black community,
Mm-hmm.
and hey, look, we got to get these communities in order so that we can circulate the dollars. Because
That's right.
if I don't have a Black-owned establishment in my community for the most part, then how can my dollars circulate like that?
Right. Right. You have no choice but to go outside of your community, and then your money is circulating in a whole lot of other zones with
Yeah.
companies that are really not helping your community.
Yeah.
They're milking your community, or others come into your community and take the dollars away from your community that a Black-owned business could be,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's another show.
Yeah, that is totally, and look, I'm all about
Yes.
successful businesses, right?
Yeah.
Like that's, I always use the story of Soul Train so much, just because I feel like it's a true testimony to a Black establishment that became a powerhouse, right?
Absolutely.
And the fact that it started right here in Chicago is it's just a story within a story.
So did you ever go to Soul Train?
I only watched it on television, but
you went going down the middle.
I wish
doing your dance.
Look, at the time when I used to watch it, I didn't even know it originated in Chicago.
Wow.
And so when I found all of that out, I was like, wow, I got to share this. I said, how many other people know this or may not know this?
Mm-hmm.
And then I've gotten into debates with people where they like saying, no, it started in LA. And I'm like, no.
And see, that's history. See?
Yeah, exactly.
That's history.
Exactly. So, but I've talked to numerous dancers from the local show here in Chicago, as well as the one in LA. And it's so encouraging to hear these stories, people that's still alive, and people that actually danced on the show, people that knew Don Cornelius. And I'm just like, wow, and it's just a lot of untold stories that just a whole lot. Yeah.
I love that show too.
Yeah.
All of those.
And see for me, I think it's a testimony for a lot of us, because I remember that was the first time I seen Black commercials in rotation.
Mm-hmm.
Like Johnson Products.
Yes.
I was just like, whoa, it was promoting the Afro Sheen, and and I'm like, wow, like this is powerful. Like, we just watched the show with Black people, and now we got a Black commercial series of commercials going on.
Black business, Black-owned business, and it was booming. Johnson & Johnson,
Yeah.
Baby powder and a baby oil, and yes.
Yeah. That was it. And then he that was what his objective was, to empower Black people.
Absolutely.
He said he wanted to shine the light on people in a positive way.
And that's what we can do when we do it ourselves.
Yep. And look, we used to tune in to listen to the latest music, look at the latest fashion, and look at the latest dances.
That was it. We look at the latest artists.
Yep.
That was us.
So I don't think we'll ever probably see that happen again in the rest of our lifetime.
I hope so, but you're right. I hate to say never, but
yeah. And it's just that it was so paramount and difficult at the time.
Yeah.
That you really got to come with your A game to exceed it, right? And
can you imagine what they had to do to get over the hump to even get out there in the mainstream to even launch a show?
Yes.
Back then?
Yes.
So,
Yeah. So, so you got, and then they were the longest running, syndicated show at that time. So, like nobody had, like they superseded American Bandstand. And even though American Bandstand was not a Black show, they still superseded them, in terms of their longevity and what they did over the course of time. So,
we have BET now.
Yeah.
That's our current.
Yeah. And that's what I feel that even with us, what we're doing currently today, the objective should be to create platforms.
Absolutely.
So that somebody and others, from our breed can what could I say, can relate, can benefit from.
Absolutely. And
you
that's
know.
why we're on RYC Live.
There you go.
RYC Live
And
is about to birth some great things.
and
Already has some great things going on RYC Live.
I want to send a shout out to my brother too, because my brother, Mr. RYC Live, like, I've been knowing him since the 80s, but like this the way his mind thinks is the reason why it attracted me to work with him, because
Mhm.
we have a lot of similarities, right? And like what's the saying where they say great minds think alike,
That was rolling in my thoughts. It was creative minds think alike. Yeah,
yeah, and you just you got to keep building off of that, because
absolutely.
when you find that, you don't want to let that go. Like
Yeah, and from one creative person to another, you can be on the phone all night. You can be talking all night and thinking about 1,000 things. And your thoughts are birthing other ideas, and next thing you know, it's a new day.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so much to do. It's so much to do. Like it should never come a time where you say, I ain't got nothing to do. You hear people when they be like, I'm bored. Like
Mm,
all the stuff that you could be doing, and you said you
right.
ain't got nothing to do.
There's a difference between I'm bored or I'm tired. Now, if you're tired, it's because you were doing a whole lot of those things you were pondering and thinking about.
Yeah.
But bored, no. I don't honestly think I've ever been bored. Well, I've been bored
Right.
a long time ago, but
Right.
lately in recent years, there has never been a dull moment for me.
There you go.
And that lets me know that I'm obviously doing a lot.
Yeah, like you say, life is lifing.
Yeah, life is life. And in some ways it's good. In some ways it's okay. I'm trying to keep up. I'm the hamster in the wheel, trying to, stay afloat basically.
All right. So for going back directly to your show, we're looking at Wednesday, May 14th.
Wednesday, May 14th at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time.
All right. So you all heard it right here. 8 p.m. Central Standard Time next week on Wednesday, which is May 14th. So
that's correct. And it's going to be a great show. I have a great topic, and I'll be putting more information out there on my Facebook page, which is Trisha MyEyes Clifton. And I'm sure we'll also be sharing some things on RYC Live Facebook page and YouTube.
Yep.
But next week's show, May 14th, Wednesday, please tune in. Please comment, give your ideas, your thoughts, your questions during the live feed. If you have any questions that you want to bring up, we can address them during the live. And if we don't address them during the live, then we'll definitely still get back to you at some point, even in the comments. So just kind of, look back at it. And if you want to be on the show, like I said earlier, be my guest. Hit me at Trisha Clifton 112 at gmail.com. That's Trisha Clifton 112 at gmail.com. And then we can converse on the topic that we want to discuss and make sure it's a good fit for food for thought. And I'm sure it will be.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Well, I like I said, I'm elated. I just can't wait to sit back and watch your show. I can't watch it because look, what I'm doing right now, you'll be doing. So
I want to share what my show is about, but at the same time, it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Should I get them a few little?
Well, you know how they make for movies. They make what they call a trailer.
A little trailer, give you a little excerpt of what
they just give you a little excerpt
what's coming next.
And when you see that, you be like, "Ooh, I want to see that." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we'll wait. It'll be out there leading up to Wednesday. I have a very, very special guest that I'm sure people will learn a lot from because her bio is so long.
Okay.
And she's very professional. And that's all I'm going to say. But it's going to be a great, great topic. And I think everyone will be wanting to be engaged in this topic and share your thoughts and comments because I'm sure there's going to be a plethora of ideas and thoughts and suggestions and a lot of things that people might want to share and hopefully some resources that may help people because people are going through some things with the current state of the world, and that's all I'll say.
Yeah, for sure. And here's the thing. I always look at it from this perspective, and again, it's for good reason because as they also say, it's going to get worse before it get better.
Mm-hmm.
And so, people got to understand what that is, like, what is that? What does that really mean? Like, we think we have it difficult now, but as the days go on further down the line, life gets even harder to live.
Yes.
Like you say, life is life. And so
But
it doesn't get easier, shall I say,
yeah.
in this current state of affairs that we're in. And so
But
I
we have
think,
to always let people walk away with the fact that every storm runs
Mhm.
out of rain.
Yeah.
So it may get harder, but it won't stay that way. It
Yeah,
won't.
yeah.
The
And
sun
see,
will shine again.
and I think that's the beauty to the overview of the entire story, because just like we talked about earlier about
Mhm.
Noah, right? It rained for 40 days and 40
40
nights,
nights, yeah.
but after that, there was a rainbow, right?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes. I love rainbows.
And then they got
Love
directions.
them.
They got directions to come out of the ark.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And
That's that
what,
grand reminder.
yeah. And what a time that must have been, right?
Yes. Life is gonna get brighter and better.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and what some people may not know is that rainbow was a symbol that the earth would never be destroyed by water again.
That's it. No more water, but fire next time.
So
That's
see,
it.
it's a whole lot of things that people just need to pay attention to
Oh yeah.
and connect the dots, so to speak, put the pieces of the puzzle
Yep, yep.
together, so you can be
Mhm.
like, "Ooh, I got it." You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yep. So those are some food for thoughts.
Yes.
We're giving you all the little nuggets so you can come for the whole entire meal next Wednesday, May 14th. Come and tune in at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. Now, if
Yes.
you're in another state, then it might be 9 on your end, but it's 8 p.m. Central Standard Time for us here in Chicago.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
tune in, please. We'd love for you to come on board and tune in and chime in and type in your comments and all of that.
Now, let me ask you.
Mhm.
We only have about 7 minutes left before we conclude. But what's one of your favorite shows from the past that you either watched on television or even perhaps a podcast show in more modern times that you enjoy?
Well, I'll go back to one of my favorite shows, and I was a little girl, and I'm surprised I can remember this, but this is how much I love this show. I used to watch, like, I was gonna always be in front of that TV
Mhm.
when Get Christy Love came on.
Okay.
You're under arrest, sugar. When that show came on, and I think I probably was 8 or 9 years old.
Uh-huh.
And I remember when that show went off, and it was like a quick the show went off the air with no kind of warning.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what was going on behind the scenes with the network or what have you
Yeah.
with the show itself, but I remember sitting down and in front of the TV waiting to tune in, and on the TV was this big announcement that Get Christy Love was no longer going to be on the air, and I cried like a baby.
Yep.
I cried like a baby. So Get Christy Love was one of my shows, and I would actually go on YouTube and look it up and watch one of those old shows.
Yeah.
I do that to this day. But modern day, I love watching the Roland Martin. He's very what's the word I can find from Martin? Roland Martin, he's very entertaining.
Okay.
And very, very resourceful and very educational.
Okay.
And he's definitely a man that's very focused on his race of people. He wants to put the information and the resources out there, which is what RYC Live is going to be doing as well.
Yes.
And we're already doing it, right?
Right.
And also, I love Don Lemon. I love Don Lemon's show. So those that I just mentioned, they have their own podcasts now. They may not be on those big networks that they once upon a time were on, and people are doing, their own broadcasts and own podcasts.
Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned Christy Love about it just having an abrupt ending.
Yeah.
I just found out.
I'm still not over that.
Yes. And it's interesting you say that, because I just found out that the Jeffersons did the same thing. Like the Jeffersons.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
The Jeffersons.
I wasn't a Jefferson person, though.
Yeah, well, I watched it, but it was just because it was popular.
Yeah,
But
I watched it, but
I did. But what I didn't know
Mhm.
is that it had an abrupt ending. Like they were
I
having
didn't know that either.
they were having issues on the set,
Hmm.
and behind the scenes or whatever, to where the announcement wasn't like, how sometimes when they're trying to conclude a show,
Yeah.
they kill off characters, or
Yes.
they do whatever to make it could come to an end.
Yeah. You
But
see that? Yeah.
they said the actual cast was just like they didn't even know it was coming. You know what I'm
And
saying?
that's terrible
Yeah, yeah,
because these people become your family. I mean, and it's like to be told, okay, that's it. That's the last episode. We're not doing any more production.
yeah,
That has to hurt.
yep,
It's like, now
yep,
where do we go from here? You got to
yeah,
start life all over again with a
yeah.
new, beginning somewhere else.
Right, right,
So
right,
yeah.
right. Yeah, but it just also, just like I say, goes to show you that having good relationships, working relationships
Mhm.
too, is important because
Yeah, networking.
yeah,
Yep.
because I mean, especially if you got the type of show that is being accepted by the viewers.
Hmm.
That's the thing. That's the last thing you want to do is see it conclude. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Absolutely. That's why we want you all to share the links of
yep.
this interview talking about Food for Thoughts, a new show that's coming next Wednesday, May 14th at 8
Yep.
p.m. Central Standard Time
Yes.
on RYC Live, YouTube, and Facebook.
Yes.
And I'll, of course, be sharing it on my Trisha, MyEyes, Clifton Facebook page as well. So please put that information out there.
Yes. Yes. So y'all heard it directly from Trisha. I'm super excited myself, and we hope that all of you viewers out there tuning in now, we hope for you to tune in next Wednesday for the first episode of Food for Thoughts, and then really enjoy it, and then share it. They say what we say. Sharing is caring.
That's it. Sharing is caring. Each one reach one. Because you never know. It might be some information, and I'm sure it is some information that will be shared that people will be able to, take away and be able to, do something with. And hopefully it'll help them.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody that or somebody that that knows somebody that needs that information.
Yes.
See, I really want to go and start telling you all what's getting ready to happen. But you'll start seeing a lot of stuff coming up in the days ahead.
Well, yeah, just leave, like you say, between now and Wednesday, just leave little breadcrumbs.
Yeah, little breadcrumbs, little nuggets.
They can pick up and lead them right to Wednesday. Yeah, so that's great. So what would you like to say in conclusion tonight?
Well, number one, again, I don't want to be repetitive, but I guess I'm going to be repetitive. I would love for you all to pretty much definitely tune in on next Wednesday, May 14th at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time for Food for Thoughts. And of course, this will be the very first night of this show launching. So it may not be where there's a flood of people, but if you click that share button and share it to the different people or different pages that you're affiliated with, that word will get out there and the knowledge will be spread. And hopefully the takeaway will be some encouraging information and some stuff that you will be able to take and share with other people and even use yourself that will help you in your day-to-day living.
That's what's up. Well, thank you so much for taking the time out to come on tonight just to kind of give the viewers an overview. And once again, I'm looking forward to it, and I hope all the viewers that's tuned in now and those that will eventually connect, I hope they are all going to be in for a great treat, which I know they will. And, we're looking just to have that new ad, that new vibe, that new feel, food for thought, keep that in mind. That's it.
Food for thought.
Yeah. So we will be back again, regular schedule time next Friday, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time for Fresh Fridays. You know how we do each and every Friday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time.
That's
but
it.
now we have the new edition on Wednesday nights. That's going to be Trisha, Food for Thought. So y'all can tune in for that. And we all know too, soon our brother Mr. RYC Live will be coming back with his show.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
stay tuned for that. And
Stay tuned, y'all.
we just continue to hope to grow the
Big things
platform.
popping.
Yeah. So with that being said, this has been great. It's been wonderful. Thank you so much, Trisha.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be a part of the RYC Live family.
Yes. And we're honored to have you, and we look forward to continued building of this relationship, and developing on this platform, and also helping to serve the communities.
That's
At
it. Rep
the
your
end of
city, y'all.
there you go. Rep your city. Wherever you at, rep your city.
That's it. That's it. That's all.
All right, y'all. So until next week, we'll see y'all. One
That's
love,
it.
and we will be back next week as scheduled. All right, everyone. Have a good evening.
Good night.